is the rudder of the boat, but the Lord of all is its pilot. Cast not thy heart after riches, there's no ignoring fate and destiny. Place not thy thoughts on things outside, every man is destined for his hour.
On feeling goods where all of your cash went, not chakra alignment or inward refinement. Trying to find one word to describe men. Better yet, can one consciousness unify them? Pondering on these questions is where my time spent. Creative process, believe me, greatness got to achieve it. Ideas we believe in, positive mind, gotta reach in it. Put an effort to bring forth this new being. You're not consumed by the lust for things, but knows that his worth is determined by words and deeds. Your mind is affected by words and deeds. Your thoughts are keys to what you're trying to see, and what you're trying to see should be to reach your goals. Hold on to your dreams, keys open doors. Since you can't always choose circumstances, make sure to choose your thoughts wisely. Choose advancement, work towards the future. Now's your chance, kid. Accept responsibility, avoid resentment. Actions always take root from what you think about. Things ain't going your way, it ain't hard to figure out. Why? Oh, why? Ask why. Ain't gotta tell you, it's right in front of your eyes. So in following these principles, you'll find along the road you're the only one responsible for your soul. It's no coincidence. Take control of your life, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. You take control, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Yeah, it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Nah, it's no coincidence.
Old shells are highly prized. And this one is occupied by a sarcastic fringehead.
You're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news, breaking the mainstream media with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, streaming live from downtown New Haven. What's up, people? Trump made big news yesterday, pulling out of the Iran deal. And I know, look, I talk to people every day who heard that he pulled out of the Iran deal, but didn't actually hear it. They heard it from someone else. It's always, most of the people I talk to hear it secondhand. They don't know what he actually said, but they know what some CNN commentator feels about it, or somebody from MSNBC who told them the world was going to melt down because of it. But let's listen to Trump's words coming out of his own mouth. And don't turn it down. Listen to the news. This is real news. If it will play.
Update the world on our efforts to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. The Iranian regime is the leading state sponsor of terror. It exports dangerous missiles, fuels conflicts across the Middle East, and supports terrorist proxies and militias such as Hezbollah, Hamas, the Taliban, and Al-Qaeda. Over the years, Iran and its proxies have bombed American embassies and military installations, murdered hundreds of American service members, and kidnapped, imprisoned, and tortured American citizens. The Iranian regime has funded its long reign of chaos and terror by plundering the wealth of its own people. No action taken by the regime has been more dangerous than its pursuit of nuclear weapons and the means of delivering them. In 2015, the previous administration joined with other nations in a deal regarding Iran's nuclear program. This agreement was known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. In theory, the so-called Iran deal was supposed to protect the United States and our allies from the lunacy of an Iranian nuclear bomb, a weapon that will only endanger the survival of the Iranian regime. In fact, the deal allowed Iran to continue enriching uranium and, over time, reach the brink of a nuclear breakout. The deal lifted crippling economic sanctions on Iran in exchange for very weak limits on the regime's nuclear activity and no limits at all on its other malign behavior, including its sinister activities in Syria, Yemen, and other places all around the world. In other words, at the point when the United States had maximum leverage, this disastrous deal gave this regime, and it's a regime of great terror, many billions of dollars, some of it in actual cash. A great embarrassment to me as a citizen and to all citizens of the United States. A constructive deal could easily have been struck at the time, but it wasn't. At the heart of the Iran deal was a giant fiction that a murderous regime desired only a peaceful nuclear energy program. Today, we have definitive proof that this Iranian promise was a lie. Last week, Israel published intelligence documents, long concealed by Iran, conclusively showing the Iranian regime and its history of pursuing nuclear weapons. The fact is, this was a horrible, one-sided deal that should have never, ever been made. It didn't bring calm, it didn't bring peace, and it never will. In the years since the deal was reached, Iran's military budget has grown by almost 40%, while its economy is doing very badly. After the sanctions were lifted, the dictatorship used its new funds to build nuclear-capable missiles, support terrorism, and cause havoc throughout the Middle East and beyond. The agreement was so poorly negotiated that even if Iran fully complies, the regime can still be on the verge of a nuclear breakout in just a short period of time. The deal's sunset provisions are totally unacceptable. If I allowed this deal to stand, there would soon be a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. Everyone would want their weapons ready by the time Iran had theirs. Making matters worse, the deal's inspection provisions lack adequate mechanisms to prevent, detect, and punish cheating, and don't even have the unqualified right to inspect many important locations, including military facilities. Not only does the deal fail to halt Iran's nuclear ambitions, but it also fails to address the regime's development of ballistic missiles that could deliver nuclear warheads. Finally, the deal does nothing to constrain Iran's destabilizing activities, including its support for terrorism. Since the agreement, Iran's bloody ambitions have grown only more brazen. In light of these glaring flaws, I announced last October that the Iran deal must either be renegotiated or terminated. 3 months later, on January 12th, I repeated these conditions. I made clear that if the deal could not be fixed, the United States would no longer be a party to the agreement. Over the past few months, we have engaged extensively with our allies and partners around the world, including France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. We have also consulted with our friends from across the Middle East. We are unified in our understanding of the threat and in our conviction that Iran must never acquire a nuclear weapon. After these consultations, it is clear to me that we cannot prevent an Iranian nuclear bomb under the decaying and rotten structure of the current agreement. The Iran deal is defective at its core. If we do nothing, we know exactly what will happen. In just a short period of time, the world's leading state sponsor of terror will be on the cusp of acquiring the world's most dangerous weapons. Therefore, I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal. In a few moments, I will sign a presidential memorandum to begin reinstating U.S. nuclear sanctions on the Iranian regime. We will be instituting the highest level of economic sanction. Any nation that helps Iran in its quest for nuclear weapons could also be strongly sanctioned by the United States. America will not be held hostage to nuclear blackmail. We will not allow American cities to be threatened with destruction, and we will not allow a regime that chants death to America to gain access to the most deadly weapons on earth. Today's action sends a critical message. The United States no longer makes empty threats. When I make promises, I keep them. In fact, at this very moment, Secretary Pompeo is on his way to North Korea in preparation for my upcoming meeting with Kim Jong-un. Plans are being made, relationships are building. Hopefully a deal will happen, and with the help of China, South Korea, and Japan, a future of great prosperity and security can be achieved for everyone. As we exit the Iran deal, we will be working with our allies to find a real, comprehensive, and lasting solution to the Iranian nuclear threat. This will include efforts to eliminate the threat of Iran's ballistic missile program, to stop its terrorist activities worldwide, and to block its menacing activity across the Middle East. In the meantime, powerful sanctions will go into full effect. If the regime continues its nuclear aspirations, it will have bigger problems than it has ever had before. Finally, I want to deliver a message to the long-suffering people of Iran. The people of America stand with you. It has now been almost 40 years since this dictatorship seized power and took a proud nation hostage. Most of Iran's 80 million citizens have sadly never known an Iran that prospered in peace with its neighbors and commanded the admiration of the world. But the future of Iran belongs to its people. They are the rightful heirs to a rich culture and an ancient land, and they deserve a nation that does justice to their dreams, honor to their history, and glory to God. Iran's leaders will naturally say that they refuse to negotiate a new deal. They refuse, and that's fine. I'd probably say the same thing if I was in their position. But the fact is, they are going to want to make a new and lasting deal, one that benefits all of Iran and the Iranian people. When they do, I am ready, willing, and able. Great things can happen for Iran, and great things can happen for the peace and stability that we all want in the Middle East. There has been enough suffering, death, and destruction. Let it end now. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
All right. So, and it's important that you actually get to hear these speeches, you know, in his own words, because the stuff I heard today about what people think he said is incredible, right? He wasn't calling for war there, like everybody said. He actually said he wants to bring prosperity to Iran, reaching out to its people, which Obama never did, right? And to think that you have the people saying, well, now France is upset, now the British are upset, oh my God. But what nobody understands, and I'll read this article in a little bit, that the UAE, hold on, let me just, the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain all announced that they're in favor. They're happy that Trump did this. Now, you want the French and the Brits deciding the future of these people, Iran's neighbors, who are under assault by Iran every day? Iran is the #1 sponsor in the world of terrorism. And guess what happened? Obama gave them 150 billion, and they took that money and they put it into missiles and more terrorism. They're funding more terrorism. They haven't stopped. This deal didn't cause Iran to stop its terrorism. This deal didn't cause Iran to want the death of Israel, to wipe Israel off the map. This deal didn't cause Iran to stop yelling in their streets, "Death to America." But for some reason, people think that stopping this deal, which was a horrible deal, and you don't have to take my word for it. I have a couple of clips of Democrats who said it. This deal was a horrible deal. We couldn't inspect everywhere. We couldn't inspect their military facilities. And wherever we would go to inspect, whenever we wanted to inspect, we would have to give them 30 days notice so they could clean up the sites and move everything from the sites. This deal was horrible. The Israeli Prime Minister came out just a few days ago and proved that Iran was actually cheating on the deal and was keeping all of its nuclear technology and everything going with the intention to start it up whenever they wanted to. Now I understand. I understand. Barack and John Kerry made this deal. They wanted it as a legacy item, and I think the elimination of this deal probably cost Obama a wing in his library, right? And I know that's the problem. It's just the same thing with Obamacare. It's horrible, but let's keep this bad deal because it's better than nothing. And it turns out sometimes nothing is better than a bad deal. Look, this was a good thing. And you see, look, do you see, if you guys haven't heard the news yet, we have 3 American hostages, or no longer hostages, They were freed in North Korea today, and they're coming back with Mike Pompeo, the CIA, well, the former CIA, the Secretary of State now. Yeah, the North Korean dictator who everybody said Trump was going to go to war against. And, oh my God, you're speaking too harshly to the world, to the dictator over there who's killing his own people. You're speaking too harshly to them. It's like, I don't even understand that ignorance. But guess what? Those hostages are coming home. Kim Jong-un is sitting down at the table talking about getting rid of his nuclear weapons, or his aspirations to have nuclear weapons. There's a debate whether he has them or not. But everything Trump has said and done has proven to come out good, to be golden. I was just speaking to somebody out there, and I won't say their names because I'm always weary of saying people's names. But who asked me, how could I, how could I be with Trump? And I started going down the list of the promises he made and the promises he's kept. And the economic outlook, the 3.9% unemployment. And I feel like, and they started listing and shaking, nodding their heads. Yes, you're right. But the way he talks, I get it. He rubs some people the wrong way. Obama spoke and you felt wonderful, but he did nothing. This guy may be abrasive, but he's getting the job done. America's doing better. That 3.9% unemployment is a major thing. And you have states who are now offering to move you to their states to work because they don't have enough people to match the jobs. Yeah, it's not happening here in Connecticut. I wonder why, Dan Malloy. The Democrats. But if you look all around America, everything is getting better. Now, sure, there's a lot of hate out there. And there's a lot of ignorant racists out there. A lot of ignorant people. Those people were around before Donald Trump. Right? And those people, we have I think the FBI statistic was 6,000 KKK or something like that in America. It's not a big number. Those people can't do anything to influence America. The people who are actually influencing America are the media, who are spotlighting those people. They put those people in the spotlight, and they're the ones who spread the message. But those people have nothing, don't have anything to do with Donald Trump. You have to look around you and be realistic. And stop listening to people. Stop listening to people who don't know. This is why I played the speech today. Because it's about time that you start listening to the real information. So many people get their news, their information, second, third, fourth hand. It's time that you start listening to the real information. And when you have the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Israel ecstatic that Trump did this, that Trump got out of this deal, you have to say to yourself, wait a minute. So Israel is hand in hand with Saudi Arabia, with the UAE? Wait, when you have those people agreeing that the number one sponsor of terrorism shouldn't be emboldened like Obama did by giving them more money and letting them test ballistic missiles? I mean, we got nothing out of this deal. And guess what? The leader of Iran said, well, maybe we'll start up right away. The only reason he would be able to say that is if he's maintained his nuclear program. It's time for you people to wake up. Time to wake up. You're listening to breaking news, absolutely breaking the mainstream media, breaking it in half. With Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
This used to be the land of opportunity. People used to strive for peace. We don't even use the word unity until them guns release. Young kids dropping out of school, thinking they know it all, don't even know the rules. Grown men want to kill themselves for a cause. Innocent people losing their lives in the cross. History repeating itself, what are we doing? The revolution will be televised, still brewing. CNN cameras, satellite coverage. We heading for destruction, don't forget your luggage. Marvin Gaye's vision, what's going on? Back in 71, it's being reborn. We need to wake up, people getting shot dead. Homie lost his life for doing what the police said.
I just wanna know if we gonna last. The glass is half full, the bottom's coming fast. I just wanna know where's all the justice? Blaming on the system, no we can't trust it. I just wanna know if we gonna last. The glass is half full, the bottom's coming fast. I just wanna know where's all the justice? Blaming on the system, no we can't trust it. I just wanna know. Too much stress, but Lord knows we trying different drama every day. Too many young people dying, having conversations like, what happened to the youth? You really wanna know? We stopped teaching them the truth. Took the power from the parents, took religion out of school. I just watched the fire challenge. Who's raising these fools? Damn. Too many cubs, no lions. Too many broken hearts and families crying. Damn. Will we ever be free at last? The way we going, I don't know if we gon' even last. Martin Luther still having dreams. Listen closely, you can hear the screams. Yeah, violence all across your TV screens. Turning into Malcolm by any means. Yeah, corruption busting through the seams. Hands up, screaming loud, don't kill my dreams. If we gonna last, the glass is half full, the bottom's coming fast. I just wanna know where's all the justice? Blaming on the system, no we can't trust it. I just wanna know if we gonna last, the glass is half full, the bottom's coming fast. I just wanna know where's all the justice? Blaming on the system, no we can't trust it. I just wanna know
what was going through Ali head when he fought, and what they put into his head. Now that's allegedly, of course. I wanna know why them judges bringing books to the court. Strictly the Flinger brothers stripping the child of his child support. He wanna know why his daddy left, but he don't know he mad he left. Now they're in school and he's using aggressive force. I wanna know how you shoot a man unarmed absorbed in view of the camera. And they get plastered on the news, that's sticking to the plan. Damn, but they don't know, and they don't care where they don't go. But do you blame them? Well, that cognitive dissonance of each is so, that's how it goes. That's why I'm Garvey like split flip the Molly type to lift the kids to higher heights. That's it provided right, like Beastman riders right, I'm right. A thievery when time is tight. I'm talking land and resources, yeah, the diamond tight. Bet you ain't know if you don't think, then you don't grow. That leave you stunning by the liquor store corner screaming. I just wanna know if we gonna last. The glass is half full, the bottom's coming fast. I just wanna know where's all the justice? Blaming on the system, no we can't trust it. I just wanna know if we gonna last. The glass is half full, the bottom's coming fast. I just wanna know where's all the justice? Blaming on the system, no we can't trust it.
I just want to know. All right. Welcome back. You're listening to Breaking News with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave. All right. So before I want to read Obama's statement just to be, I don't know, a little fair, I guess, if you could say that. But it really doesn't matter. The deal is irrelevant. He's irrelevant now. And this delusion that Michelle Obama has about a forever first lady, somebody needs to help her out. She must have bumped her head. She's not a queen. She's not the queen of America. She's a former first lady, not a forever first lady. Somebody needs to help her out. They talk about Trump having mental issues, that delusion that Michelle Obama has. Somebody needs to check that out. But that was for people out there, you know, trying to rub them the wrong way. Good luck with that. Michelle Obama's delusional. All right, so Obama, of course Obama has something to say. I mean, like I said, you know, his presidential library, they just tore down a wing of the library. He no longer has that Iran deal wing, you know, and his Obamacare wing is still under construction, right? Because they don't know what's going to happen with that since the mandate got taken away and all of that. They're dismantling that piece by piece. So we'll see, you know, if Obama's able to build past one room for his library. But anyway, so this is Barack Hussein Obama's response. There are few issues, and he's so long-winded, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I mean, this guy, he tried to resolve everything with a speech, and he seems to be doing the same thing with this. There are few issues more important to the security of the United States than the potential spread of nuclear weapons, or the potential for even more destructive war in the Middle East. That's why the United States negotiated the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action in the first place. That's the Iran deal. The reality is clear. The JCPOA is working. That is a view shared by our European allies, independent experts, and the current U.S. Secretary of Defense. The JCPOA is in America's interests. It has significantly rolled back Iran's nuclear program, and the JCPOA is a model for what diplomacy can accomplish. Its inspections and verifications regimen is precisely what the United States blah 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 blah, and Trump is endangering the United States. Basically, is what he's saying. So, because his European allies agree, then the deal must be good, right? And I heard that today. But what is that going to do to our allies? You know, what is that going to do to our allies where we're breaking away from our allies? Yeah, but our allies don't live in the Middle East. But you know who else is our ally? Israel. They live right smack in the middle of the Middle East, and what? And what? What did Obama do for them? Israel was against this deal all the way through. And saying that Iran is complying with this deal, that's insane, right? Because if you have a bad deal, if I'm a drug dealer and I agree to let the cops only search the front room, and the cop makes that deal, he's ignorant. He just made a bad deal, and I'll live up to that deal all the way through because my drugs are in the back room. Obama made this deal and it limited what we could inspect. So he's saying, hey, look, it's working because they're allowing inspections in the front room. But how about the back room? This guy is... Maybe he's delusional too. Maybe they're drinking from the same juice. Delusion juice. But anyway, that's it with Obama. I just want to give him that little piece, but irrelevant right now. Don't need to hear from him. Right? But let's hear. This is interesting because yesterday I heard Chuck Schumer come out against the president for doing this. It's a very interesting thing that all of a sudden Chuck Schumer is against getting out of this deal. It's interesting, except if you listen to Chuck Schumer when Obama signed this deal, he was against it. Yeah, the leader, the minority leader of the Senate. But let's listen to Chuck Schumer in his own words. You don't need to take it from me. Let's listen to Chucky Schumer.
Let me just say, this is one of the most important decisions that I will make, that any senator or congressman can make. And so I'm studying it really seriously. I've read the agreement a bunch of times, but there are lots of other questions that relate to the agreement that are not in it. I've had over 20 briefings, 2 classified briefings. I intend to continue that because this is such an important decision that I will not let pressure, politics, or party influence. I've learned over the years, when you have a tough decision like this, study it, come to what you believe is the right decision, and go forward with it. And that's what I intend to do. Let me just say.
That was Chuck Schumer. That was Chuck Schumer deciding whether to back Barack Obama on the Iran deal. That was Chuck Schumer. And I played that first because you have to understand, Chuck Schumer studied this. He studied it. You heard him, he got many briefings. He wanted to fully understand this deal. He wanted to fully understand this deal before he said yes or no to the deal. And let's see what Chuck Schumer did. How he voted for this deal. Yes or no?
This agreement sanctions a threshold Iranian nuclear state after 10 to 15 years. That means the United States and all the governments of the world say it's okay for Iran to be a threshold nuclear state. That's a lot different than it doing it on its own. And that caused me real trouble.
Okay. He came out against the deal because, in Chuck Schumer's words, we were sanctioning Iran getting a nuclear weapon in 10 to 15 years. You know why? Because another part of the deal, they were letting them spin those centrifuges. Still allowed to make nuclear material. They were allowing them to continue the development of ballistic missiles. Guess what? In that time, in that 10 to 15 years, we were allowing them to develop their ballistic missiles so that when they did go nuclear, they'd be able to hit us. Chucky Schumer. I agree with Chucky Schumer. It's incredible. I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Now, of course, Chuck Schumer. And let's see if I got the article here. Chuck Schumer came out yesterday. Him. And this is from the Roll Call website. 7 lawmakers who opposed the Iran deal and now oppose Trump's decision to withdraw from the deal. Okay? Now, these are your people who Chuck Schumer told you in that clip. He learned how to study deals like this and then go with what you believe in. And Chuck Schumer just threw all of that out the window by coming out against Trump. All of a sudden, it's politically expedient to be against the President of the United States. So that's what Chuck Schumer's going to do. He knows it's a bad deal. And he knows that he's happy. And he knows he's happy about the United States declaring Jerusalem the capital. He knows all of that. But it's politically expedient for him to come out and fool you. Because what? They think you're idiots. You just need to stop being idiots. Stop falling for their game. All right. Unfortunately, Paul ate into my show. Paul's show leaked into my hour, so I have to cut it off right here. But it's been fun, and it's crazy because Joe Ugly and I have had a conversation on this very subject, and Joe thinks we should make decisions based on our allies, right? Too, but he's not looking at Israel. He's just talking about our French and British allies, our European allies. It's like people could care less. People could care less that the same movement that Hitler was running, Iran is doing the same thing. They call Jewish people dogs. They don't think they deserve to be on this planet. But nobody cares about our ally Israel. And Iran has promised to wipe Israel off the map. So what do you think they're going to do when they get a nuclear weapon? Anyway, I got to go. Like I said, I got to go. You've been listening to Breaking News. Absolutely breaking the mainstream media. Tune in to me and Joe Ugly 12 noon Friday for Drive-By Headlines, where I get to try to educate the guy. I try to help. I think it's no hope for the dude. All right. You've been listening on WNHHLP 103.5 FM. Your home for community radio.
Be resolute
See ya.
of heart. Make firm thy mind. The tongue of a man is the rudder of the boat, but the Lord of all is its pilot. Cast not thy heart after riches. There's no ignoring fate and destiny. Place not thy thoughts on things outside. Every man is destined for his hour.
I'm feeling goods where all of your cash went. Not chakra alignment or inward refinement. Trying to find one word to describe men. Better yet, can one consciousness unify them? questions is where my time spent. Creative process, believe me, greatness got to achieve it. Ideas, we believe it. Positive mind, gotta reach in it. Put an effort to bring forth this new being. You're not consumed by the lust for things, but knows that his work is determined by words and deeds. Your mind is affected by words and deeds. Your thoughts are keys to what you're trying to see, and what you're trying to see should be to reach your goals. Hold on to your dreams, keys open doors. Since you can't always choose circumstances, make sure to choose your thoughts wisely. Choose advancement, move towards the future. Now's your chance, kid. Accept responsibility, avoid resentment. Actions always take root from what you think about. Things ain't going your way, it ain't hard to figure out. Why? Oh, why? Ask why. Ain't gotta tell you, it's right in front of your eyes. So in following these principles, you'll find along the road you're the only one responsible for your soul. It's no coincidence. Take control of your life, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. You take control, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Yeah, it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Nah, it's no coincidence.
Old shells are highly prized. And this one is occupied by a sarcastic fringe.